Hey everybody, and welcome to Dpad Experience Presents Marvel Champions. Dpad Experience is a weekly video game podcast published on all podcast platforms. All right, today we're doing a 5-minute review of Groot, for he is Groot. All right, I'm just going to go over his basic cards, right? Nothing else, because he can be played any way. You know, you have your choice of aspect in playing him. Maybe you prefer aggression, protection, that's up to you, right? That will change how he plays, but I'm going to go over with what he has in his deck. And you can make the choice if you like it, if you think it fits into your playstyle, and I will give my personal opinions on him at the end of this 5-minute review. All right, Rick, we're on the clock. Who we got? All right, so we have Groot, who has a 4 recovery and a growth spurt action. Place 2 growth counters on him. Limit once per round, maximum to 10. So he can have 10 growth counters on it. 10 growth counters on him. That's important. Remember that. He is a 1 thwart, 2 attack, 3 defense character. Very weak with thwart. Okay, decent attack, very strong defense. Force interrupt. When he would take any amount of damage, remove that many growth counters from him. For each growth counter removed, prevent a damage. So he can be protected by his growth counters. Let's see how we get them. So we get them on the alter ego, but we have 2 copies of fruition. Play 2 growth counters on Groot. All right, that'll help us get our growth counters up. We have 1 copy of Fertile Ground. Exhaust Fertile Ground, place a growth counter on Groot, and draw a card. Very good card. You want that out as early as possible. Then we have some upgrades, okay? We have Entangling Vines. When he would make a basic thwart, use a growth counter, give Groot +2 thwart for that thwart. We have Lashing Vines. After he uses a basic power, remove 2 growth counters from him and ready Groot. We have the attack version of it, right? When he makes a basic attack, exhaust this and use a growth counter. He gets +2 for that attack. And you know what was coming now. When he defends, remove a growth counter, exhaust this, he gets +3 for defense. So he's all about growth counters. No growth counters, no Groot. Okay, without them, he's essentially useless. So you got to make sure to get Fertile Ground. It's probably his most important card. He's going to want to be flipping, in my opinion, to use this ability to put growth counters on him. All right, then we have, I think it's his worst card. We Are Groot. I think it's his worst card, right? Remove up to 4 growth counters, choose that many friendly characters, give those characters a tough status card. It's fine, right? It's not bad. The tough status, you got to use the growth counters. He's got better cards. I apologize. It's not his worst card. This is his worst card, in my opinion, because this is an expensive card. It costs 3. So it's not this one. I apologize. Remove threat from a scheme equal to number of growth counters on Groot. So he can have 10 growth counters on him, which this means this can remove 10 threat, right? But it's really expensive. He's got another card in here that does the same thing. That's not as expensive. Very expensive card. This is probably his worst card, in my opinion. We have 3 copies of Root Stomp. This is a decent card, okay? Deal 5 damage to an enemy. If it defeats that enemy, place a growth counter on Groot. Okay, you can use this for minions. Very cheap, right? 2. It doesn't, cost any growth counters or anything. So 2 attack for a 5 damage to either the villain, right, or a minion. Then you get a growth counter. Really, really good. This is the coup de grace, right? This is what he lives and dies by. I am Groot. 2 cost event. Deal damage to an enemy equal to the number of growth counters on Groot. He can have a maximum of 10. 2 cost for a potential 10 damage card. This is the card that he wants, okay? This is the card that he wants. Gets this out at full growth counters. He's a beast, right? But notice what I said for basically all of these. At full growth counters. Without growth counters, Groot is useless. He needs those growth counters to do well, right? Without them, he can't do anything. So he's extremely dependent on his gimmick, and that can go either way. And that kind of puts him in the middle ground for me. I don't hate him. I think he's fun. I don't think you need to rush to pick him up. If you're bored and you have nothing else and you're looking for something new, he's fine. Like you're not going to go wrong with picking up Groot. He's not the worst character I've ever played. He's kind of fun, right? I'm not going to go out every weekend and play him. There's much more fun characters, but I personally think he shines in a Justice deck where it allows him to flip, right, to get the most out of this. Where you can start playing these other cards to use the growth counters. He can work well in a protection deck, but he's a mid-tier. He's mid-tier in my opinion. So, thank you, Groot. You are, in fact, Groot.